Also coming up, minority in Parliament defense motion filed against the vetting of Paul Bafuboni as Chief Justice.
Stakeholders at a constitutional lecture reignites call for extended presidential term limits.
And later in business, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman cautions against complacency on economic gains.
On the international front, at least 20 people die in Haiti in flooding caused by Hurricane Melissa. We have the details of these and many more stories, including sports and entertainment, coming up over the next 1 hour. Stay with us.
We're starting from issues regarding waste management and the environment, because the Environmental Service Providers Association say they will embark on a nationwide strike beginning the 7th of November in protest of government's failure to pay them. Speaking to the media, the Executive Secretary of ESPA, Amma Ofori-Entry, said that service providers were on the verge of shutdown due to the mounting financial pressure.
We call on the government to, as a matter of urgency, make payments to avoid a shutdown by the 7th November 2025. We therefore appeal to the government for the immediate release of outstanding payments owed to all waste management contractors by the 7th of November 2025. Without this intervention, service providers may be forced to suspend operations nationwide. ESPA regrets to caution that several landfills and treatment facilities across the country may face imminent shutdown. Such closures would disrupt waste collection services, threaten thousands of jobs, lead to public health crisis, and reverse Ghana's hard-won progress in the sanitation sector and environmental protection.
Let's go to the phone lines now and speak to Member of Parliament on the Select Committee of Water and Sanitation, Charles Bauer Dua, who he's joined us on phone for a quick chat. Mr. Dua, good evening. Thank you for your time. Hello, Mr. Bauer Dua. Right.
Good evening and good evening to all your listeners.
Right, we can hear you very clearly from the phone, so kindly turn down the volume on your TV set for us so you can speak to us through the telephone. While you do that, my first question would be, we as a country are trying to prevent a public health crisis. These people who collect and ensure that our streets and homes are clean are threatening to go on strike because they have not been paid for some time now. As a member of the Select Committee in Parliament, has this come to your attention?
Well, let me say that as a committee, the decision by the sanitation workers to embark on a strike action has not officially come to our attention. As an individual's attention has been brought to it by the news network, and I believe that it should come to our attention. I'm aware of some of the issues that they are complaining about, and the committee has at various meetings engaged and expressed its concern also on the issues that they are complaining about.
We are already struggling to keep our streets clean. I mean, there have been promises, previous government and even the current administration, all in a bid to ensure that we have clean streets, and especially the capital city. If these people are threatening a strike, what would you advise the next immediate action be now that you are aware of it?
Well, I think it goes without saying that should this threatened strike, materialize, the city will further be, inundated with dirt, filth, and or whatever you can describe. And I do not think that we should allow our city to incur this kind of situation. I think that there's a need for the association to engage with government and then to ensure that a solution is sought. Mind you, sanitation workers are part of the essential service workers with regards to the law. And I believe that if my knowledge of the law is right, and as I think, they are not permitted to go on strike. And that therefore means that there's a need for government to expeditiously resolve their issue and then get them paid so that they can, suspend the strike or maybe completely do away with it.
And you're right that they are providers of essential services, so a strike by them poses an existential threat when it comes to issues of health. But are you aware of why we have had to wait this long? Because they say for a number of months they have not been paid, although they've made efforts to get the ministry's attention and by extension government's attention. Do you know why they've still not been paid?
Well, as a committee member, I'm aware that the issue of non-payment has come to our attention. I think it had also to do with the fact that these workers who are working so hard to ensure that our cities are very clean have been paid salaries and allowances that are so meager and do not meet the weight and quality of the work they do. And so government decided that it was going to look into the contract and to resolve the matter and to be sure that they were satisfied with their earnings. And so we as a committee have urged government to expedite action on it. And I believe that this is being worked on. And I can only further ask government to continue to work on it and ensure that this matter is resolved as quickly as possible and that the workers get paid. I mean, it's so painful, and so dehumanizing to work and not get paid. And right. I think government is working on it and will find a solution to it. I would ask the workers to exercise further patience as they have already done, and let's find a solution to it as quickly as possible.
Thank you for your time and the assurance you are giving us. Charles Bawadua is a member of Parliament and of the Select Committee on Water and Sanitation.
Moving on, the minority in Parliament has defended its motion filed against the vetting of Paul Bafuboni as Chief Justice, indicating that the request will protect the interests of the acting CJ and the integrity of the judicial process. The caucus has demanded that all processes to vet and confirm the acting CJ be halted until all pending legal cases filed by the former Chief Justice are settled. A member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee has pronounced that request dead on arrival.
The former Chief Justice has at least 3 active cases at the High Court and the ECOWAS Court challenging her removal from office. She is seeking the favor of these courts for a possible reinstatement as a Supreme Court judge and a pronouncement that the Puamai Committee acted in error. The minority MPs say until those cases are resolved, the Speaker must not allow the Appointments Committee to consider the nomination of Justice Bafuboni.
The minority has served notice on the Clerk to Parliament that we have a motion for the Speaker to consider the suspension of all activities both at the Parliamentary Select Committee on appointments and the plenary on anything that has to do with the consideration of the nomination of Justice Paul Bafuboni as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana.
He explained that the motion is out of a good conscience.
Justice Tokonu has about 6 pending cases at various courts, high courts, all the way to the Supreme Court, and she has 3 pending cases at the ECOWAS courts. And we believe that for good order's sake, it's very, very important that we finish and complete exhaustively all matters that are still pending before we consider the nomination of the acting Chief Justice. It is also in the best interest of Justice Paul Bafuboni as he is being considered for consideration as the Chief Justice, that whatever has been done to Justice Tokono may be done to him.
A member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee and MP for Kwesimintim, Philip Bachman, says the minority's request is moot.
The minority are playing political gymnastics. So when would those cases in respect of her ladyship Tokono end? If a lawyer says that this case is not going to end soon, all technicalities will be adopted to make sure it doesn't end soon. The seat is not the bona fide property of her ladyship Tokono. It's for Ghana. And Ghana must move on. Our judicial system must progress. So we won't, stop, mark time because of somebody who thinks that she has not been dealt with rightly.
Justice Bafubon is expected to be vetted on Monday, November 10, 2025.
Still in Parliament, though, the Speaker of the House, Alban Bagbin, has directed the Clerk to Parliament to maintain detailed attendance records of members of Parliament to facilitate disciplinary action against those who are habitually absent without permission. Expressing his displeasure over the growing trend of absenteeism among lawmakers, the Speaker cautioned that members of Parliament who fail to attend plenary proceedings risk sanctions, including the possible loss of their seats.
Before usually I commence proceedings, I always take account of those present. I'm not happy with the situation. I did indicate from the very beginning of this meeting that I have the records of attendance for the first meeting and the second meeting. I decided for good reason not to publish them, but to give you the last opportunity. It looks like that is a catastrophic mistake I made. I should have brought it out and referred members to the Privileges Committee. I thought that was not a good way to start this third meeting. But it's like that's encouraged members not to be present. I'm saying this for the last time. I've given directive to the clerks at table to take the records for this meeting. And please, we have the standing orders. We know what they say. We'll be taking action to make sure that we compel members to sit or to be considered to have vacated their seats. This matter, I will say no more.
Let's now take you to the courts, where lawyers of the former National Signals Bureau Director, led by Samuel Atachia, have expressed disappointment over the decision of the Supreme Court in the criminal trial of Kwabna Edu Boahing. The Apex Court unanimously dismissed their application to prohibit the trial judge from further hearing the matter. Lord Iduasare reports.
Lawyers for the former National Signals Bureau Director filed the application to remove the High Court Judge, Justice Eugene Yedunyante, from further hearing the case, citing bias. In court on Wednesday, October 29, lead counsel for Edu Boahing, Samuel Atachia, argued on the grounds of allegations that the trial judge blocked the disclosure of exculpatory evidence, took special interest in the matter by hearing the matter from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and allowing the Attorney General to decide the timelines of his decisions. But Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai counter-argued that the defense lawyers had misunderstood the facts of the case and was misinforming the Apex Court. He prayed the court to dismiss the application after noting that no evidence had been put before the Apex Court to satisfy the grounds of bias. The 5-member panel of justices chaired by Justice Avril Lovelace Johnson in a unanimous decision held that the application was without merit and did not meet the threshold for prohibition of a trial judge. Samuel Atachia spoke to journalists after proceedings.
I'm disappointed but not discouraged. We'll see how the case will travel. How does it feel going back to the same court that you...
It doesn't move me at all. The only persuasion a judge should have is the law. I'm not going to have a banter with him. I'm not going to fight him over anything. I'm just going to project the law. It doesn't move me at all.
The full reasoning of the courts will be available on November 5, while the case returns to the High Court on Thursday. Lodi Dwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, this story is interesting. You want to pay attention to it because stakeholders at a constitutional lecture in Accra are calling for a review of Ghana's presidential term of office without delay. They posit that extending the term could promote continuity and strengthen the country's development agenda. The call was made at a forum organized by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, in Accra.
Ghana's four-year presidential term has once again come under severe scrutiny. Governance experts and civil society actors say the limited term restricts long-term development planning and pressures governments to deliver results too quickly. Across the African continent, Ghana remains the only country with a single four-year presidential term, renewable once. Experts argue that this structure slows down national progress and weakens policy continuity. Back in 2008, former President John Ejekum Kufuor proposed extending the presidential term to 6 or 7 years, but the idea was shelved. Now, more than a decade later, the proposal has resurfaced and been submitted to the Constitution Review Commission for consideration.
In South Korea, the Prime Minister has no set terms. And honorable men and women, this is also the constitutional framework that we created at independence. A prime ministerial system where we reward the best leaders on the basis of performance. And we do not sack leaders on the basis of having served 1 term or 2 terms. But persons or leaders were rewarded on the basis of performance. As we speak now, Ghana has got the shortest term limit for the presidency system across the entire Africa. It's only in Ghana and Nigeria where the president is given 4 years to produce magic.
A former head of the civil service, Nane Jekum Jamina, also backed the call, saying a longer term would promote policy stability and reduce political interference in the civil service.
There are chief directors who've gone through due process. They have passed the interviews. They have not been posted, and there are people occupying chief director positions who have not gone through due process. I don't think that's a matter for the president. It's a matter for the Civil Service Council, and it's a matter for the Public Service Commission to deal with. You see, at times we talk of political interference and we put you all to the front. What are we doing about that?
Executive Secretary of CLOGSAG, Isaac Bampuado, expressed concern about the current system where public sector chief executives are appointed solely by the president.
President Atamios, the High Court told him, you have no right to dismiss any civil servant. Odum, and this thing. They told him, yes, with all due respect, Mr. President, you cannot dismiss any civil servant. 195 says that you appoint or act in accordance with the advice, not your personal reason, or you see someone in a party, peripheral, the way he dances, you like this. No, in accordance with the advice of the council involved.
In other news this evening, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, GCAA, has assured all airline operators, aviation stakeholders, and the traveling public that comprehensive measures have been activated to ensure that continued provision of air traffic services across the Accra Flight Information Region. This comes after the Ghana Air Traffic Safety Electronics Association announced a nationwide strike action on Thursday, October 30, 2025. Now, in a statement issued by GCAA on Wednesday, October 30, 2025, the authority said management has developed and implemented a CNS ATM system contingency plan to maintain operational continuity and avoid disruptions to both domestic and international flight operations. It said in anticipation of the strike threat, GCAA has designed the contingency plan, which outlines detailed operational procedures, designated response teams, and robust coordination mechanisms designed to uphold aviation safety and service integrity during the period of the industrial action. The statement urged all stakeholders, airlines, and members of the traveling public to remain calm and confident in the measures put in place.
In more news this evening, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, well, that's the story we have just brought to you. We'll try and shift our attention to issues having to do with child abuse, which has come up quite strongly in the media in the recent past. So a 7-year-old girl has suffered burns to her genital area after a 24-year-old woman allegedly punished her for bedwetting. Although the matter was initially reported, the family says police dismissed it because they were told the suspect is not a blood relative. Christabel Success Trevor has more.
Amina is 7 years old. She bedwets, and because of that, she was allegedly burnt with a hot spoon in her private part. The case was initially closed. However, it has now been reopened. Her mother says she was not informed when it happened.
My daughter
told me she wets the bed when she sleeps. The girl then took a hot spoon and placed it under her genitals. Some boys in the area caught the girl and took her to the police station. Her father came to bail her out, and she fled. I was in Medina when it happened last week Wednesday. I was informed about it by someone else.
Different person or friend or catch my son and Mr. Food Cafe Medina by
Amina confirmed she was burned after wetting the bed, something health experts say is common among children and requires support, not punishment.
If I sleep and I urinate on the bed, and one day she takes food and put inside fire, and she burned my hair, and she bathed for me, and she let me go to school, and I went to school, and somebody come and sit on my hair, and I've cried, and some madam come, and she told me that what happened, and I showed for her this thing, and she went and sent for the headmaster, and they said that they should send me to hospital, and they didn't send me.
A child rights advocate says reporting a case like this does not require the complainant to be a family member.
A stranger goes to report it to DOSU, and the family come in and they say he's not a family member, and a police officer tells the man to withdraw the case because it has nothing to do with him. That's where I have a problem, because how you are DOSU, there's a reason why you are there. You are there to protect the child. Even if I would say the community doesn't know any better or the family wants to cover up for themselves, what are you there as an institution for? You are supposed to be protecting the child.
Under Ghana's child protection framework, abuse by a caregiver, tenant, or any adult in a household is prosecutable. Child Rights International says dismissing the case because the suspect is not a family member contradicts the law and weakens child protection.
These are things that would leave a mark in the life of the child forever. And for you to deal with the social aspects, that is where we want a response to some of the things like bringing in the criminal aspect and then also providing the social services that would also let the child feel good about herself.
Also, the Western Central Police has begun investigations into the death of 6-year-old Jennifer Wembela, who was found dead in a plastic chalk box at the Nsayem Methodist MA Primary School at Nsayem in the Western region. No suspect has yet been named. The Nsayem community was thrown into a state of shock and disbelief on Tuesday morning when little Jennifer, who had gone missing the day before, was found in the chalk box in her classroom on Tuesday. Abraham Mensah has more.
In a statement issued by the Western Central Command of the Ghana Police Service, a thorough investigation has been commissioned into the case. In the meantime, the body of the deceased has been deposited at the Takwa Government Hospital for autopsy and preservation. Jennifer, a Class 1 pupil at the Nsayem Methodist MA Primary, had not returned from school on Monday, according to her parents. Being part of the afternoon shift at her school, they did not feel alarmed initially, but this changed when she had not returned by late night. The parents had mounted a search to no avail. Her lifeless body was, however, discovered the next day when a classroom was unlocked. She was locked in a plastic chalk box which serves as her class cupboard. The books had been packed beside the box. A traditional leader in the community, Safohin Penin Insian II, reveals there were no visible signs of a struggle on the deceased body. However, her pants and shoes had been removed. What surprised the school authorities and the community was that the door and the windows to the classroom were all secured, suggesting that Jennifer probably was murdered and locked up the previous day. In a statement issued by the head of Public Affairs Unit of the Western Central Command of the Ghana Police Service, ASP Beatrice Texan, the body of the deceased has been deposited at the Takwa Government Hospital for preservation and autopsy. Meanwhile, the police are assuring the public that a thorough investigation has been launched to unravel the circumstance leading to this tragic incident and to bring any perpetrators to justice.
So watching News 360 on TV3. Stay with us. We have business, sports, entertainment coming up.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here.
Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has two of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally.
Convinced?
Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful Pepsodent smiles.
For naturally whiter teeth, Pepsodent Charcoal.
Pepsodent.
Here on News 360, I am Michael Obodu. Now, Vice President Professor Jane Nano Pokwajiman has cautioned against complacency in safeguarding recent economic progress despite notable improvements in key indicators. Speaking at the Ghana Economic Forum organized by the BNFT, she says the appreciation of the cedi and falling inflation must not lead to laxity.
The Ghana cedi has appreciated by nearly 40% year-to-date, with inflation now in single digits, the lowest in 4 years after opening the year at around 23%. The Bank of Ghana says the country's foreign reserves have also seen significant improvement, while external debt levels have declined meaningfully. However, the central bank maintains that the next phase of Ghana's economic recovery must focus on boosting domestic production and adding value to raw materials.
Production or productivity is crucial in safeguarding both the value and stability of the currency. Indeed, stability without production or productivity is hollow. A currency derives its enduring wealth from what a nation produces and sells to the world. Ghana's fundamentals, gold, cocoa, and oil remain vital, but the next phase of our growth must come from our value addition.
Meanwhile, the Vice President emphasized that the gains made were not accidental, but the result of deliberate efforts and must be deepened to reinforce the gains achieved.
Our gold reserves have multiplied. Agreements with creditors have eased debt distress. The fiscal reforms are beginning to bear fruit. These are not miracles. They are the outcomes of deliberate, disciplined choices. However, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the time for complacency. It is a time for consolidation.
Now, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, is demanding a suspension of all electricity tariff adjustments following revelations of widespread financial indiscipline and operational inefficiencies at the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, by Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, PAC. FABAG asserts that the PAC's findings, which include ECG's failure to account for significant public funds, unapproved expenditures, and poor internal controls, vindicate their long-held position.
The association maintains that ECG's chronic financial woes stem not from inadequate tariffs, but from weak financial management and revenue leakages.
The Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, recent revelations of the massive financial indiscipline, financial recklessness of the ECG clearly confirms FABAG's position that there must be efficiency in the power sector in ECG before any tariff increment. The exposure clearly indicates that ECG has all the financial resources that they need and that there is no need for any tariff increment.
Executive Chairman of FABAG, Reverend John Awuni, is urging key sector regulators and government to prioritize accountability and efficiency before burdening consumers with higher costs.
Tariff increments will only go to indicate that the public is paying for their inefficiency. For an institution to overrun its budget without any approval of its board is very appalling. For an institution to overrun its budget by almost 200% and comes back to the PRC and requests for tariff adjustments is very unacceptable.
FABAG has also extended an open invitation to ECG for a public debate on the matter, signaling their continued commitment to addressing the nation's critical power sector issues.
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market.
Spray and coil.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. The Black Queens of Ghana, alongside 11 other countries, including defending champions Nigeria, host Morocco, will line up once again for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The championship will also serve as a 2027 Women's World Cup qualifier, a feat Kim Las-Yorkegren, who's the coach of the Black Queens, hopes to attain with this team. My colleague Akosua J spoke with the coach and some players exclusively after booking a slot to Morocco 2026.
Amid the electrifying cheers of Ghanaians eager to witness a historic moment, the senior national women's football team, the Black Queens, secured their 11th qualification for the Women's African Cup of Nations. The 2024 bronze medalists triumphed with a commanding 4-0 win, sealing a 7-0 aggregate victory. Doris Boedua starred with a second-half hat-trick, while Comfort Yeboah, who plays for Dax Logroño, added another goal. Coach Kim Las-Yorkegren highlighted the vital leadership of Portia Boache, noting her influence after leading the team to 2 WAFCON tournaments.
Portia has been great. I mean, she's so great girl, and she's doing a great job. I would say, especially like off the pitch, what people doesn't see, and on the pitch, I think she's fantastic. I mean, she's getting a little bit older, but actually, I'm completely honest when I'm saying that. I can't see it when she's playing. She's still fast. She's still quick. She's mobile. And
the squad's depth has been further strengthened by the inclusion of dual nationals Josephine Bonsu and Chantel Boy Holoka. Both players born in Germany and England respectively relieved their debut home match at the Accra Sports Stadium.
To finally play my first home game and to feel the atmosphere from the fans, it was amazing to look up and see all the vibrant colours, and just to put a smile on everyone's faces and see it in the flesh was an amazing moment for me.
Well, I have to say the girls, they told me before what it's going to be like, but I didn't expect it to be like this. And then we got, of course, the 4-0 win, and it was just, the atmosphere was really great. And the fans, they brought a very, very big energy, and I was just very proud to be there.
The upcoming 16th edition of WAFCON will double as a qualifier for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup, a stage the Black Queens haven't reached since 2011. Coach Yorkegren is aiming for a top 4 finish in Morocco, which would guarantee automatic qualification.
Yeah, it's going to be to start with to make the top 4. That puts us into the World Cup. But always eyes on the goal. And
the 2026 WAFCON will be held in Morocco from March 17th to April 3rd, featuring 12 qualified teams, including host Morocco, reigning champions Nigeria, Ghana, newcomers Cape Verde and Malawi, along with Algeria, Burkina Faso, Kenya, Senegal, South Africa, Tanzania, and Zambia.
Now, before we go, Belgian football icon Eden Hazard has been officially inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame, joining Manchester United defender Gary Neville as the 2 players selected for induction this year by the 24 existing Hall of Fame members. And so that's how we wrap up the sports segment. Here, my name is Oreku Ampofo.
caused by Hurricane Melissa, strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record, caused major damage to public infrastructure and left most of the island without power. Local government warns people on the island that recovery is not going to be an easy road. Many parts of Jamaica's western side are underwater, with homes destroyed by strong winds after the hurricane tore across the island with catastrophic force. As wind and rain lashed through the night, one local official said the destruction resembled the scene of an apocalypse movie. From Jamaica, the storm traveled north to Cuba, bringing with it 150 miles per hour winds and heavy rain and warnings of life-threatening storm surges. The hurricane is now moving northeast towards the Bahamas and Bermuda.
News segment is brought to you by GTP Lifestyle and Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil, powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Entertainment News segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, veteran Nollywood actor Alex Yusifo has attributed the decline in collaborations between Nigerian and Ghanaian film industries to what he describes as an attitudinal problem among some stakeholders. Now, the veteran actor also called on Ghanaian filmmakers to keep pace with their Nigerian counterparts, stressing that the Nigerian film industry continues to innovate and expand.
Well, you should have yourselves a lovely day. Sure.
And make sure you have all the rest you can get, okay?
Historically, the Ghanaian and Nigerian film industries have shared a close relationship. In the early 2000s, a wave of co-productions helped strengthen the West African entertainment market, bringing together top actors, producers, and directors from both countries. These collaborations boosted the regional popularity of films from both markets and propelled Ghanaian talents onto a wider stage. However, in recent years, the frequency of joint productions has declined, with industry analysts raising concerns over the slowdown. Alex Yusifo, the celebrated Nollywood actor with decades of experience, who believes that mindset and attitude play a major role in the decline of Nigerian-Ghana movie collaborations.
I think it's difficult for me to talk categorically on this. But again, I think it's attitudinal problem. We actually started well together. Today, I keep asking myself, I don't know what has gone wrong. Whether it's political, it cannot be. We're all Africans, like you said. Movie making has no boundary. We're all one.
The veteran actor also urged Ghanaian filmmakers to keep pace with their Nigerian counterparts, noting that the Nigerian film industry continues to innovate and expand.
I also want our Ghanaian brothers and sisters to also wake up and they should follow the pace. Nigeria is not relenting at all, I can assure you. We are moving. They talk about, a moving train. That's the way. That's the symbol I can draw.
Yusifo emphasized the universality of filmmaking, drawing parallels with music as a universal language, and called for greater unity and collaborations across the two industries.
What I would say is, if they arise, they'll be able to catch up. I know that there are a lot of talented actors here that are good producers. I've had to work here before too. So I think it's something that can be corrected. If we realize
Well, I am Martin Asiedu Date.
And I am Aisha Yak.